I kind of think the Celtics, the more we watch this series and the more that they have exercised whatever demons were holding them back from reaching this level of greatness that they should have been reaching. I don't know what anybody's going to do about the Celtics. Like I maybe there's some team that gets constructed this offseason that just matches up great with them. But when you look around and you look at their lineup, I just don't know how a team is going to build a roster that's going to beat them 4 out of 7 times.
I think every season is so different that we don't know like what they look like next year. For some reason, their roster could change. I think almost all of their guys are locked up.
Yeah.
At least next season, and most of them the year after that. But I kind of feel that they're going to be a force, whether it's a finals winner or a finals participant or an Eastern Conference Finals team for like the next 5 years.
I agree.
I don't think that there's a way around that.
Yeah.
And I think the rest of the league is going to have to, like, once they get their first title, what that's going to do for their confidence and what that's going to do for their program is crazy. And so everybody else is chasing them at this point. I'll also say, like, this is who we thought was going to be in the finals in the Eastern Conference from the beginning of the season.
From day one.
Day one. This is who everybody thought was going to be in the final, and everyone thought in the West it would be Denver. Denver fell short, but
I will say there were some Milwaukee Bucks people at the start of the year. Okay. Because the Dame Giannis pick and roll, and then it turns out that they couldn't play enough defense, and then Giannis got hurt, and that was a mess for them.
Yeah.
But for the most part, it was the Celtics are that team.
I totally think that that's the way we all looked at the Celtics, as like a finals team.
And I'll say this too. I had a similar feeling about Denver last year.
Okay.
Denver coming out of last year is like, man, they're gonna have the same team, and God, Jokic and Murray in that 2-man game, and Aaron Gordon. Like, I don't know who's gonna knock this team off.
Yeah.
And then, sure enough, they don't even make the Western Conference Finals.
Yeah. So the one thing about the Celtics, though, is because of the way the Western Conference played out and how we've talked about matchups the whole time, I kind of feel like we might just be missing something. That there is a team out there that just would be a bad matchup for Boston. And I don't know which team that is, but it feels like if every team in the Western Conference has, like, there's a team that has kryptonite for them, which is what we learned in the playoffs, then there might be a team that's just oddly constructed that the Celtics can't stop.
So Denver beat them twice this year.
Okay.
Once in January, once in March. So fairly late in the year, they beat them twice. I'm not going to go through box scores to see who played and who didn't. Did any other Western Conference? I'm checking to see if any other Western Conference team swept them. Split with Minnesota, split with the Lakers, split with the Clippers.
Yeah.
Split with the Thunder. Yeah, man, they're just, God. They took 3 out of 4 from the Sixers, swept the Suns, Blazers, Kings, Spurs, Raptors, Jazz, and Wizards. They swept all of those teams. I don't know. Here, let's do this. Let's play this game. What team how would you construct a realistic roster? Like, what's a bad matchup for the Celtics look like?
I don't think we know.
Is it just a guy like Jokic who's just a hoss and they don't really have anybody that can hang with him, and he just collapses their defense and they get a bunch of open shots, and that's what it is?
Maybe. It could also be a team like Minnesota that has some of the length and athleticism at the wings that make things interesting.
Sure.
You know, it could be that, especially next year. I mean, it could be OKC just with another year of seasoning, where, again, the defense of a guy like Chet Holmgren can change things. And
Lou Dort.
It's whether or not you can slow down Shea. If you can't slow down Shea, are they beatable?
Sure.
I'm not sure. I just think that we need to let next season start to play out, because I think one of these teams in the West, maybe two, will take a monumental leap again. There will probably be a 60 one or two like teams that are approaching 60 wins next year in the West.
Mm.
I don't know which teams those are, like whether Minnesota is able to hold it together or whether OKC
Yeah.
takes another leap in their productivity or whether they go out and make a major move with all their draft picks
Mhm.
and just add that missing ingredient. But I still think that more than any time, I don't remember any season that came down to just purely matchups
Yeah.
in the finals. I mean, in the playoffs.
Mhm.
And so it just lends me to believe that there's another team that might just match up really, really tough against the Celtics. And we just don't know which one of those teams are and whether they can make it through the gauntlet that is the West and be the one that represents the West and then shows you that, hey, look, we do have something that they can't stop.
Yeah.
So I think it's interesting.
That's what I'm going to watch all next year. How does this team match up with Boston? That's all I'm going to care about. Because Boston's answered any question I have.
Yeah.
Can this team hang with Boston? Yes or no? That's all I'm going to care about.
Well,
next year.
The Kings barely lost to them late in the season, but they benched most of their players in the third or fourth quarter.
Yeah. A bizarre game that was.
Yeah, that was a bizarre game. But that's still what we're talking about. There's going to be a team out there that for some reason has something that the Celtics can't stop.
Yeah. We'll see, man.
It's just not the Dallas Mavericks.
No, it's definitely not.
We know that now.
Yeah. Mavericks are going to be good, though. Mavericks are going to be around. If I give you 1.5 championships for this version of the Celtics, over or under?
I take the over. I think they'll get at least one more.
I agree. What about 2.5?
That's tough. Maybe
three titles a lot.
3, yeah,
and
3 over like 5 years or something. That's tough.
Yeah, and it starts to get to the point where, like we're talking about, teams start to angle toward, hey, how do we beat Boston?
Mm-hmm.
Forget the 82-game season. If we're going to run into Boston, how do we beat them? And yeah, maybe the Nuggets make another run, and that's the team that is their kryptonite or whatever. But yeah, I would take the over 1.5. I might even, depending on the juice, I might take the over on 2.5. They're just, man.
Yeah, I get that.
I'm so impressed with how they've looked in the finals this year. They look like a team like with Golden State. Even up until this past year, it was, well, Golden State, they're my pick to win the title because Steph and Clay and Draymond and this and that. Once you have that reputation, you're just going to kind of be in the mix. And I think that's what we're seeing from Boston right now is that leap into a not only talented team, but talented team that is going to withstand whatever curveball gets thrown at them in a series. Lose game 1 at home, that's fine. Go down 2-1, that's fine. Oh, key player gets hurt, that's fine.
I think that their window, though, like, I'm not sure what their window is because their 2 stars, like, certainly can play with a bunch of other players, right?
Mm-hmm.
And could continue this like amazing run, right?
Mm-hmm.
But Drew Holiday, 34 years old, Horford, 37, 38 years old, Porzingis, like 29 years old, almost 30. What do we talk about? Derek White, 30. Porzingis probably, I mean, we're seeing Porzingis break down. We've seen him break down over the last 4 years.
Yeah.
There's a good chance that he's not a player that's super impactful at age 32, right?
Yeah.
And so Horford will be gone. Drew Holiday will be gone at some point. Maybe he's still playing at 37 years old and still like really good, but he's not going to be the same level that he is right now.
It's time for the handoff. Damian Barling, D'Lo, and KC coming up at noon.
This studio constantly smelling like vanilla hazelnut lattes is spectacular.
Okay, is it actually? I think it's a great smell.
Oh, it is.
It's how my morning, like how I know my morning officially starts is when James shows up. He gets his coffee, sets it down on the table that we prep at. It's like bam.
Mm-hmm.
It's like there it is.
Yeah, no, that's how my morning starts. I open the studio door and it's bam, vanilla hazelnut. Is that what it is? I'm guessing. I have no idea.
Actually, today that's such a finely refined nose that you have. I started with hazelnut, but I had the final hazelnut, and then I had about this much left in my cup. Switched to the vanilla.
Come on, man!
You got
Come on, man! Come on, man! Don't play with me. Don't play with me. That's what I'm here for.
We're talking about how the Celtics are going to win the next 6 or 7 titles. They might never lose another game.
Ever.
I could see it.
But the thing is and James, I want to pick up on your point where, you're talking about, hey, what does Kristaps Porzingis look like over the next couple of years when Drew Holiday goes out? When the roster starts to turn over some, because we saw just the Bruce Brown, Jeff Green exits from Denver dramatically changed what that team was.
Yeah, what do they look like with Bruce Brown defending Anthony Edwards in the playoffs?
Yeah, I think it would help them a lot, and just giving them another shot creator off the bench. But that's where I think Brad Stevens becomes a factor. I think Brad Stevens is really good at this.
Mm-hmm.
And I think no matter what, hey, you're going to lose Drew Holiday. Okay, there's going to be some move that they get whatever the next version of Drew Holiday is.
But are they going to lose Drew Holiday?
Well, we're talking in the next 4 or 5 years.
Okay.
Not this offseason.
Okay, so Tatum and Brown are still young. Those guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Jason Tatum, 19 years old.
Well,
crazy.
What's funny is like we look at this Celtics team. I think we look at young teams and think, man, this is, and they're in the midst, and this is how I think this is probably how we all feel about the Celtics. They're probably, in the midst right now of what's going to be a really long run for them. Obviously, they've been flirting with championships now for a handful of years, but
6 years, 7 years.
You're hitting, which is amazing because in my mind, you're hitting this point here now where you're a championship team. You're winning a championship, but everything changes after you win a championship. Like it's not, the truly, truly special teams can get back there and do it year after year. And I'm talking about to the NBA Finals. And when we talk about runs, sustained runs, in my mind, we're really talking like 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
That's to me in basketball, that's an eternity.
Yeah.
Like you're talking about, in 3 or 4 years, Drew Holiday might not be here. In 3 or 4 years, they could have 3 or 4 titles. Like there's and how does the team evolve? You look at this team versus the team that played the Warriors a handful of years ago. This is a different basketball team.
Mm-hmm.
Brown and Tatum are the constants for sure, but this is a different basketball team. But it's just amazing. Like when you talk about runs, we're really talking like 3 to 4 years. That is a really, really long run for a championship contender. The Warriors did it. The LeBron version of the Cavs did it. The Heat did it.
The LeBron version of the Heat.
It's a true story. Yeah, it's a true story.
I think it's interesting though, because when I look at
the LeBron guy seems to be pretty good.
Yeah, he does. He just kind of keeps going.
Can't hire a coach to save his life, but it's fine.
Yeah, there you go. I think.
What do you mean, JJ Redick is? You didn't hear?
He's right there.
If he has a
just finally reporting about it. So
and reported it as they're interviewing him, and if he has a good interview, then he might possibly move into the forefront of the coaching search.
Yeah, they're interviewing him for the first time.
For the first time.
There we go. If there's a team I'm going to compare the Celtics to right now, it might be the Warriors, not because they don't have LeBron, right? And you could even make the case that Tatum and Brown, for as good as they are, they're not as good as Steph. So they're going to have to build their team more like the way the Warriors were built, where they've got, Steph is an NBA legend, but he, again, isn't LeBron.
Mm-hmm.
He isn't this undeniable force at every turn that every team is game planning everything. I mean, they did it with like a really, really good core, but I don't know who their Draymond is. I don't know who their third guy is. And then like they might at some point have to make the Kevin Durant move, the move that is so over the top that could continue their run. But as it is, I still look at Tatum and Brown as like a tick below like some of the superstars that were.
I think you're wrong, and here's
teams.
why. You could speak to this better than I can, Kyle. Steph had a phenomenal 15. He was an MVP that year. They won a championship this year. That year. In my mind, everything changed for Steph after that. Steph became the one after that. Like the MVP year, the next year is one of the greatest seasons we've ever seen. 73 wins, whatever. Individual seasons by Steph Curry is one of the most incredible things we've ever seen. To me, we talk about once you win a championship, things change. Tatum and or Jaylen Brown, they could be completely different players next year. The guys that you're talking about, they could hit that level after winning a championship this year. That the proverbial monkey off of your back, right? The narrative's dying. Your boy, there are a few people I can't stand more in basketball media than James's very good friend Tim Bontemps. The first thing I read this morning at 4:30 this morning was a Tim Bontemps. Boy, It's 3-0. I don't know the last time the Celtics lost a game. Man, the Celtics, boy, they just can't escape some of those demons.
Did you see that comeback in the third quarter?
All right, Tim. Like, goddamn. Like, we're doing everything we can to diminish what the Boston Celtics are doing this year. I think they're let those two get through this year. And that player that you're talking about, and I agree with you, maybe they're not that.
I want to see it
right now.
They're going to have to show me that one of them takes that leap, though.
I think they can.
Okay.
And I'm not certain both of them can.
It's possible they both can, but as of right now, they haven't. I haven't been able to believe that that's who they're going to be.
I got you. I understand.
The Celtics are going to win a title, and Get Up is going to be like, what do the Celtics have left to prove? We'll tell you next. And Jesse's going to blow up Studio One.
Oh, no, Jesse's going to be living the high life. He don't care what Mike Greenberg says. He doesn't care what Tim Bontemps says.
I'm so excited for him.
I could pose a question like that. Jesse wouldn't care. Jesse is, and I just hate that it's going to happen on a Friday night. Like, I'm not going to get to see my man for 3 days after they win the title.
Well, you know how Jesse's going to be like, yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, by Monday he'll just be like, yeah, no, it's fine, boy. Not bad for a bunch of scrubs who got no attention all year. And yeah, no, I know he has a phone full of receipts he's ready to
can't wait
to unleash.
I can't wait. What do you guys
and seeing a comp on I was not watching for the record. I was getting my hair cut this morning. First take was on the TV. It does look expected. My guy is an artist. They somehow did a 30-minute conversation on the Mavericks and the Cowboys. They were talking about the Mavericks, but yet the graphic on the screen was Mike McCarthy. I was like, this network is committed to the bit. It's incredible.
I kind of respect it.
It's incredible. How can we work Dak Prescott into this conversation? I got it. They're both in Dallas. Let's go.
More of that D-Lo and KC coming up next. That's James Ham. I'm Kyle Madsen. We'll be back with you tomorrow at 10 a.m. Until then, everybody drink water and be nice to people.